conceptual design. From that we have seen the first point, that is related to the that interaction between the architect and the structural engineer, that we have seen first point, because the structural engineer should know the all the follows or all the structural design regarding the structure, every structural element, so that forces and the earthquake loads he has to know about it. And the second thing is that the architect is going to make a plan, and so that the interaction between these two peoples, that is the necessary, and the that will be become a appropriate and the seismically safe structure, and so that that interaction is very important here. Second thing is that the good configuration. What is meant by this good configuration? That good configuration of the building, as for in this way the good configuration and a reasonable framing system can even overcome poor quality of constructions without greatly affecting the ultimate performance. Means if configuration is good of the whole building, at that time that building will be getting affected the ultimate or the poor performance of the building, so that that good configuration that point will become here. Again, based on this, there is a third point: the decision made at the conceptual stage are difficult to identify, and so it is essential that their full consequences in terms of performance and cost are understood as early as possible. Decisions made at the conceptual stage are difficult to modify, so it is essential that their full consequences in terms of performance and the cost are understood as early as possible. Okay, what is this? And the basic factors contributing to the proper seismic behavior of a building in a rational conceptual design of the structural system are simplicity, symmetry of the building, ductility of the building, transfer of the lateral loads to the ground without excessive rotation. That are the points are very important as far as the conceptual design. In this, the factors contributing, which are those factors? That factors are a symmetry, simplicity of the building, ductility of the building, and the transfer of the load, that is the load path from top to the bottom. That all points are the very important points, and that are contributing as a measure while designing of the earthquake resistant building. Okay, that point should be considered over there. And in that point there is a what is that? Simply, that building should be a simple. Symmetrical means that building should be a symmetrical. Third point is the ductility. What is meant by the ductility? Ductility means the whatever that all structural elements that are reinforced, whatever the main steel, distribution steel, that all these main steel and distribution the steel that are tight with that both are tight with each other, main steel as well as the distribution steel, whatever the joints regarding the beam and column, that are in a good position. So that whatever the basic parameters that we should that all the points are at the initially at their own positions are in a good, at that time will achieve the whatever the resistivity power of the building, that will be goes on increases. And so that points are a simplicity, symmetry, ductility, and the transfer of the loads from the top to the bottom with respect to the structural elements, that all points will be come here for achieving the earthquake resistant building. That all points you should note, as far as you should write only the small points. The first point you should write the interaction between the architect and the structural engineer. Likewise you have to put in your notebook, you have to write first point, you write down the interaction between structural engineer and the architect. Second point, you write a good configuration, a good configuration and a reasonable framing system, and a reasonable framing system can even can even overcome can even overcome poor quality of construction, poor quality of constructions, without without greatly affecting greatly affecting the ultimate performance. And last point you write the basic factors contributing basic factors contributing to the proper seismic behavior to the proper seismic behavior of a building of a building is based on simplicity, comma, symmetry of the building, ductility, ductility, and transfer of and transfer of loads transfer of loads to the ground to the ground without excessive rotation without excessive rotation. Next, complex structural systems that introduce uncertainties in the analysis and detailing or that rely on effectively non-redundant load path can lead to unanticipated and potentially undesirable structural behavior. Next point is the behavior of structure during an earthquake depends largely on the form of superstructure and on how the earthquake forces are carried to the ground. For this reason, the overall form, regular configuration, flow of loads, and the framing system of the building may be of serious concern if not taken care of in the firm stage of the planning. Okay, in the conceptual design there are the complex structural system that introduces uncertainties in the analysis and detailing detailing or that rely on effectively non-redundant load path that can lead to unanticipated and potentially undesirable structural behavior. Means there is a need to be go for the unanticipated and potentially undesirable structural behavior, and that behavior of the structure during earthquake, which during an earthquake is depends upon largely depends upon the form of superstructure on how earthquake forces are carried to the ground. Means during the earthquake already we know, as per as our civil engineer, there are the substructure and the superstructure. But during the earthquake force, whatever the loads are coming from the earthquake that are from the vertically and horizontal direction from the epicenter, okay, and that waves are produces, and so that because of this vibration that earthquake forces are acting, and at that point whatever the earthquake that behavior of the structures during an earthquake, and so that will be largely depends upon which parameter, that will be depends upon the largely depends upon the form of the superstructure and how the earthquake forces are to be carried out. Okay, for that purpose means during the earthquake forces, that structural elements, all the structural elements as well as the substructure, superstructure, that should be in a good matter, that all the parameters that should be connected in a that should be ductile detailing with each other. Second thing is that substructures, all the elements should be in good position. Third one is the material used for this construction, that will be a good at that time, and whatever the principles, basic principles that are used for the structures, that all the combination of this all becomes a earthquake as a earthquake resistant building. And in that, whenever the forces are acting at that time, that structure will have the resistivity power during the contribution of this all the symmetry, simplicity, that are the principles. And the second thing is that whatever the ductile detailing of the RCC members, that all are in a at a contributing factor, at that time that building will be become as a earthquake resisting building. For this reason, the overall form, regular configuration, flow of loads, and the framing system of building may be of serious concern if not taken care in the form of first stage of the planning. Means we have to take care, that are the first stage, that at the planning stage, means the first stage, that is the planning stage, we have to take care about the overall form, the regular configuration, flow of loads, and all the parameters regarding the basic principles of the building, that we have to take into account at the first stage of the planning. So all of you write these points, that which parameters we have to take into account at the starting stage, that are the overall form of the building, regular configuration, flow of loads, and the framing system of the building. That points we should take into account. Second thing is that you have to write the behavior of the structures during earthquake is depends upon the form of superstructure, is depends on form of superstructure and how the earthquake forces are carried to the ground. And third point you write the complex structural system that introduces uncertainties in the analysis and the detailing or reply on effectively non-redundant loads, not non-redundant load path can lead to unanticipated and potentially undesirable structural behavior. Write down the next point. Continuous load path. In you write continuous load path. One of the most fundamental consideration in earthquake resistant design is a continuous load path. Okay, the most important fundamental consideration in earthquake resistant design is a continuous load path. At least one, preferably more, at least one continuous load path with adequate strength, stiffness should be provided from the origin of initial load to the final lateral loads with respect to the resisting elements. Okay, in this, whatever the load path, that load path is a fundamental consideration. Continuous load path is a fundamental consideration which makes a building as a earthquake resistant design with a continuous load path, and from that the continuous load path with adequate strength and stiffness should be provided from the origin of initial load manifestation to the final lateral load resisting elements. It is observed that proper selection of load carrying system is essential to good performance under any loading. A properly selected structural system tend to be relatively forgiving of oversights in analysis, proportions, detail and the constructions, detailing and the constructions. Continuous load path. Continuous load path, we'll see here in the diagram. What is the continuous load path diagram? You can see here the path for load transfer is as follow. Inertia forces generated in an element such as a segment of exterior curtain wall are delivered through structural connections to a horizontal diaphragm. There will be a horizontal diaphragm distributes these forces to vertical component, means wall and the vertical walls and the columns and the slabs, that are the horizontal and vertical members. They are transfer the forces into the foundations and eventually to the ground, means through the structural elements like a slab, wall and the columns. Through these structural elements, whatever the load path, load transfer from top to the bottom, that will be transferred towards the ground. That is the continuous load path. If that continuous load path system is not followed, at that time also there will be a, if during that continuous load path is not followed, and during that if earthquake load is coming during on that building, at that time there will be a, the earthquake failure possibilities are more. And so that the continuous load path is a very important. And you can see here in this diagram there is a inertia forces, that is the under the floor, slab, wall is shown, columns are also shown, and that through this structural element that load is transferred towards the foundation and foundation towards the soil. And so that the flow of inertia forces through the all the structural component, and through these processes, if this continuous load path is over there, at that time that structure is also transferring the forces into the foundations and eventually towards the ground. And so that the parameters are written here. The most important fundamental consideration is a earthquake resistant design is a continuous load path. At least one continuous load path that should be adequate strength and the stiffness should be provided from the origin of initial load to the final lateral load of the resisting elements. It is observed that the proper selections of load carrying system is essential. Proper selection of load carrying system is essential to good performance under any loading, and a properly selected structural system tends to be relatively forgiving of oversight in analysis, proportion, detailing and the constructions. Okay, so continuous load path is a method which followed through the structural elements like a slab, beam, column and the walls towards the footing towards the foundation, and foundation towards the soil. In this way, that continuous load path is should be followed by the all the structural elements, that should be become a resistivity power as per as the earthquake resistivity consideration. You draw this, you have to, you write this point, that is the in your notebook, continuous load path. You write continuous load path. From that you write point number 1, that is the one of the most fundamental consideration, in EQ resistant design. You write most fundamental consideration in EQ design. You write in second point, you write proper selection of load carrying system. Proper selection of load carrying system is essential, is essential to good performance, is essential to good performance under any loading. And last point you write a properly selected structural system, a properly selected structural system, properly selected structural system tends to be tends to be relatively relatively forgiving of forgiving of forgiving of oversight in analysis, oversight in analysis, proportion, proportion, detailing, 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 and the constructions. In same way, you draw this diagram in your notebook, that is the continuous load path. You show this all the structural elements in your notebook, that is the from the floor slab, that are the inertia forces through the walls, through the columns, towards the that load is getting transferred towards the foundation, and foundation towards the soil. So you draw this diagram in your notebook. I will wait for 2 minutes. There is a one question, that is for the inertia forces. What are the inertia forces? Already we have seen in the unit number 2nd that there are the different types of the forces produces in the system, and in that way same here the inertia forces. What is mean by the inertia forces? The inertia forces, that is the acceleration due to m into g. M is the mass, that is the mass of the body, into acceleration due to gravity, that is the g, and these forces from this top to the bottom that are going to be distributed from top to the bottom, means there is a column, there is a beam, there are the slabs and the walls. Through this all these forces, that are the all these inertia forces, mass into acceleration due to gravity, that are going to be transferred from the top to the bottom, and so that there are the inertia forces is written. So from top to the bottom, if continuous load path is followed with respect to this inertia forces, every system, every component having the masses, that masses will be getting distributed through the काय असणार आहे त्या ठिकाणी बघा, देर आर दी बेम असेल किंवा कॉलम असेल किंवा वॉल्स असतील, थ्रू दिस दॅट ऑल द लोड्स दॅट आर गोइंग टू बी transferred towards the foundation, footing and the soils. Okay, and so that continuous load path is very important point from this as far as this structural, that is as far as the earthquake resistant design. This is a very important point from this unit, that is the continuous load path. You have to draw this diagram and you have to explain this diagram with respect to the load path method. Okay. Overall, next point is the overall forms. Overall forms of the building. Overall forms of the building under a earthquake resistant design. बघा काय दिलेलं आहे? A structure is conceived and designed to transfer the seismic forces to the ground, safely. However, while the structure may have been designed, it is said to be acceptable only if it meets all the established configuration related related requirements from the observed failure during past earthquake. Means overall form of the structures, means the basic. तुम्हाला जर सांगायचं ओव्हरऑल फॉर्म, आता आपण जर बघितलं वेगवेगळे स्ट्रक्चर किंवा जे पास्ट अर्थक्वेक झालेले आहेत, इफ वी सिलेक्ट अर्थक्वेक झोन, आपण एखादा अर्थक्वेक झोन जर सिलेक्ट केला आणि त्यामध्ये जर earthquake zone मुळे during that earthquake which types of the buildings they are going to be collapsed or failure of the building occur, such structures if you have seen, आणि त्याचे जर आपण त्या ठिकाणचे प्लॅन्स असतील किंवा त्या ठिकाणच्या बिल्डिंगचे सिमेट्री सिम्प्लिसिटी किंवा ते बिल्डिंगचे ऑल द प्लॅन्स वॉट एव्हर द प्लॅन्स इफ यू कलेक्टेड अँड बेस्ड ऑन दिस इफ यू मेक अ जजमेंट, सो ॲट दॅट टाइम विल गेट अन आयडिया अबाउट द ओव्हरऑल फॉर्म्स ऑफ द बिल्डिंग. म्हणजे कुठल्या टाईपचे बिल्डिंग्स आहेत की दे आर रेजिस्टिव्ह, दे हॅव्हिंग द रेजिस्टिव्हिटी पॉवर. सो बेस्ड ऑन दिस ड्युरिंग दॅट पास्ट अर्थक्वेक फेल्युअर झालेले आहेत, तर त्या पास्ट अर्थक्वेकचा आपण स्टडी केला तर विच टाइप्स ऑफ द बिल्डिंग्स आर देअर and that study we have to made, and based on this we can make judgment about this overall forms of the building, and based on this that all the overall forms of the principles that point is included into that. व काय दिलेलं आहे? A structure is conceived and designed to transfer the seismic forces to the ground safely. However, the way the structure may have been designed, it is said to be acceptable only if it meets all the established configuration related to the requirements from the observed failure during the past earthquake. मीन्स या जे ओव्हरऑल आपले जे प्रिन्सिपल्स आहेत, बेसिक प्रिन्सिपल्स, हे कशावरती बेस करून केलेले आहेत तर दे हॅव द रिक्वायरमेंट्स फ्रॉम द ऑब्झर्वड फेल्युअर. कशा केलेल्या आहेत? दिस ऑल दीज प्रिन्सिपल्स दॅट आर acceptable and that meets all the established configuration related to the requirements from the observed failures during the past earthquake. Okay, and that overall form is making based on the past earthquake, observed failures during the past earthquake. And second thing is that the building have, and based on this they have made the overall forms in terms of building have simple, regular, compact layouts incorporating a continuous and redundant lateral force resisting system tends to perform well during earthquakes and thus are desirable. Means based on this observer failure theory of the past earthquake, they have been make a overall form of the building have a simple, regular, compact layout incorporating a continuous and redundant lateral force system tends to perform a building as an earthquake resistance building during a earthquake load. Okay, so you write in your notebook that is the overall form. That overall form you write, the overall form is a structure is conceived and designed to transfer the seismic forces the seismic forces to the ground, to the ground safely. However, structure have been designed, structure have been designed. It is said to be, it is said to be acceptable, said to be acceptable only if, only if it meets, it meets all the established configuration, all the established configuration, related requirements, related requirements from the observed failures, from the observed failures during past earthquake, during past earthquakes. Second point you write, building have, building have, building have simple, simple, comma regular, regular and compact layouts, compact layouts, compact layouts, incorporating, incorporating, incorporating a continuous, a continuous and redundant, and redundant lateral force, redundant lateral force, lateral force, lateral force resisting system, resisting system tends to, tends to perform, tends to perform, perform well during, well during, well during earthquakes, earthquakes and thus are desirable. Next point, while planning, we'll see here overall form in this. While planning a particular structure, the guiding principles to be borne in mind as follows. The structure should be provided. First point, the structure should be provided. Be simple, be symmetrical. That is the first point. You write these points also. Overall form of the building, that structure should be provided. First point, be simple and be symmetrical. Second point, not to be elongated in plan or elevation. That is, the size should be moderate. Means the overall form of the structure, that should be a simple and symmetrical. Second thing is that structure should not be elongated in plan or elevation. That is, the size should be moderate. Next point, have the structure should have uniform and continuous distribution of strength, comma, mass and the stiffness. Means that structure overall form, that is the continuous load part, should be followed, so that have uniform and continuous distribution of strength, mass and the stiffnesses. Third one is the, fourth one is the have horizontal members which form hinges before the vertical members. have horizontal members which form hinges before the vertical members. Means there is a last in this unit, there is a last point that is related to the strong column and weak beam concept. In this we'll see here, we'll see what is mean by the vertical and horizontal member. The आपले बिल्डिंग कधी सेफ राहतं, देर इज अ मे कुठले कुठले एलिमेंट आहेत आपले स्ट्रक्चरल एलिमेंट, त्या ठिकाणी बीम असेल किंवा कॉलम असेल. तर बीम आणखी कॉलम, बीम कॉलम वॉल्स मीन्स beams are horizontal members and columns are vertical members. मीन्स बघा आपली बिल्डिंग मध्ये जेव्हा दॅट ऑल द हॉरिझॉन्टल मेंबर्स लाईक अ बीम असेल तर बीम्स दॅट आर बिकम अ वीक, but columns are strong, then all the loads that will be getting transferred towards the foundation. त्यावेळेला आपली बिल्डिंग काय असते, सेफ असते. कधी वर्टिकल मेंबर्स आर गुड बट हॉरिझॉन्टल मेंबर्स आर बिकम समटाइम्स वीक. ॲट दॅट टाइम ऑल्सो our building is a safe. But when our columns are become fail first time and the beams are safe, but at that time our building will be getting collapsed. And so that point is written here, that horizontal members which have the hinges before the vertical members have sufficient ductility. Ductility म्हणजे काय, ductile detailing of the RCC members. जे काय RCC स्ट्रक्चरल एलिमेंट आहेत त्यामध्ये ductile detailing कसं पाहिजे